Welcome friends. Today we are going to study Stephen Leacock's With the Photographer. Stephen Leacock is one of the greatest humorists in early 20th century. Wrote With the Photographer to expose society's obsession with artificial beauty. Through satire, he shows how pursuit of perfection can erase individuality. The narrator enters a studio for a simple photograph, but instead of capturing reality, the photographer begins to relentless critique. Every feature is flawed, every detail must be corrected, and what should be a moment of truth becomes a comedy of errors. The narrator values authenticity. He wants his real self preserved. The photographer, however, insists on retouching, reshaping the face, refining the eyes, perfecting the mouth. Reality clashes with appearance, and the humor emerges from the absurd conflict. Leacock's humor shines through exaggeration. So many defects are found that narrator seems unfit for photography. Irony defends the comedy. A photographer's job is to capture truth, yet he wants to erase it. The serious tone in a trivial situation makes the absurdity unforgettable, and the photograph symbolizes identity and truth. Retouching represents artificially social pressure, and Leacock message is clear: be yourself, reject unrealistic standard, and value authenticity and superficial perfection. In today's world, digital filters, endless editing, Leacock's satire is more relevant than his humor warns us that classing perfection can destroy individuality, a lesson that resonates across generations. And With the Photographer is more than a humorous sketch. It is a timeless satire on society's obsession with perfection. Through laughter, Stephen Leacock reminds us of the importance of individuality, authenticity, and self-acceptance. If we are looking at the summary of the story, the narrator visits the photographer's studio to have a photograph taken. He expects a simple photograph that accurately reflects his appearance. However, the photograph is not taken properly, and the photographer is not interested in capture the narrator's real looks. The photographer examines the narrator critically and begins pointing out that what he considered defects. He says that face is too full, the ears are too prominent, the eyes need adjustment, and mouth requires improvement. The narrator becomes increasingly uncomfortable as the photographer suggests numerous alterations, and the photographer believes that good photograph should not represent reality but should instead create a improved versions of the subject. The narrator's objects strongly because he wants a photograph of himself, not a completely altered person, yet photographer continues to insist that retouching is necessary. Finally, the narrator becomes frustrated and leaves the studio, realizing that photographer is trying to replace his natural identity with an artificial tone. If we are looking to the themes, here what is highlighted, that is the theme of artificial beauty. The photographer believes that every feature of the narrator needs correction, and he cannot accept the narrator's natural appearance. Leacock criticizes the tendency to hide natural imperfection, create unrealistic beauty standards, value appearance over reality. The photographer represents a society that constantly tries to modify and improve people according to certain standard. Plus, we are looking towards the theme of conflict between reality and the appearance. Where what is the reality is that the narrator wants an authentic photograph, and appearance means the photographer wants an idealized photograph. Narrator values truth while the photographer values perfection, and this conflict reflects a broader social issue where people often prefer attractive illusions rather than a genuine reality. Here we have also theme of loss of individual identity. The photographer's alteration gradually remove the narrator's unique features. He wants to reshape the face, adjust the ears, improve the eyes, modify the mouth. As these changes accumulate, the original person begins to disappear, and Leacock suggests that excessive attempts to improve people may destroy their individuality. Here, we also find a theme of satire on professional expertise. Leacock humorously criticizes the professionals who think that they know better than their clients, and the photographer assumes he understands beauty better than the narrator, and his artistic judgment is superior. And the customer should simplify, accept his decisions. And this attitude creates a much of the story's comedy. And if we are looking towards the character analysis, first we need to look towards the narrator. His characteristics include practical mindedness, who wants simple photograph, honesty, accept natural appearance, and sensitivity, feels hurt by constant criticism, and he is independent by nature as he refuses to accept unnecessary alterations. And the narrator represents an ordinary pupil who value authenticity and self-respect. And if we are looking towards the photographer, he is an arrogant fellow, believes his judgment is perfect, too overtly critical, finds faults in every feature, artistic in mentality, focused creating an ideal image, and incentive, ignores the today's feelings of the customers, particularly the narrators. And the photographer symbolizes society's obsession with perfection and artificial beauty. And if we are looking towards the humor of the story, first it is the exaggeration where the photographer identifies so many defects that narrators appears completely unsuitable for the photography. And this exaggeration makes the situation funny. And if you look towards the irony here, photographer's job is to capture reality. Ironically, the photographer wants to change the reality completely. And this contradiction creates humor. And if looking towards the theme of absurdity and particularly the photographer suggestion become increasingly ridiculous, by the end almost every features requires modification, and the absurdity produce laughter. If we are looking through the serious tone in silly situation, the photographer behaves as though he is performing a major scientific operation. His seriousness contrasts with the trivial nature of the task, and this contrast enhances the comedy. And if we are looking towards the symbolism of the story, the photograph symbolizes personal identity, truth, and the reality. And the narrator wants the photograph to preserve in actual appearance. And also, retouching symbolizes artificiality, social pressure, and unrealistic standard. It represents society's attempt to reshape individual according to their ideal norms. And if we are looking to the art of narration and style of writing, Stephen Leacock's style is characterized by wit, clever observation, create continuous humor, satire where the story mocks social attitude, dialogue is much of the humor emerges through conservation, and simplicity of the language is straightforward and accessible. And here the gap between reality and expectation diverges the story. And if we are looking towards the message of the story teaches several important lessons. First is people should value their natural appearance. Perfection is often artificial and unattainable. every person has unique features that should be erased, and authenticity is more meaningful than superficial beauty. And if we are looking towards the critical appreciation, with the photographer remains relevant today, especially in the age of digital editing, filters, and social media. And modern technology allows people to smooth skin, change facial features, alter body shape, create idealized images. And Leacock satire predicted many of these modern concerns, and a photographer in the story behaves much like modern photo editing software, trying to eliminate every imperfection. And the story therefore continues to resonate with the contemporary readers because it addresses the tension between reality and artificial perfection. So, thus we can say that With the Photographer is a brilliant humorous satire in which Stephen Leacock criticizes society's obsession with physical perfection and artificial beauty. Through the amusing interaction between the narrators and the photographer, he highlights the importance of authenticity, individuality, and self acceptance, and the story entertains the readers with its wit and irony while delivering a powerful messages about the value of being true to oneself. Thank you.